Good morning, everybody. Jayy here with another War of the Visions video, and today we're going to take a sneak peek, a little preview at Niv'Lu, the new global sniper UR that is coming out this Wednesday. We're going to look at her stats, we're going to kind of compare her to our other UR ranged units. We're going to talk about vision cards, Espers, gear that she could be good with, and then I'm going to answer the question, am I going to pull for her, and should you consider pulling for her yourself? So let's get right into it. First of all, we're going to look at some stats for Niv'Lu and compare those stats to Frederica, Lucia, and Luartha, kind of the three maybe most comparable characters in the game to her right now. We're going to look at these stats: HP, accuracy, attack, agility, missile attack up, and range. There's a lot more statistically to look at here, but this is not a full character review. I'm going to wait till I have my hands on this unit, spoiler alert for if I'm going to pull, before I really dig super deep into the stats, but I do think it's useful to take this cursory look at their stats and just see how she stacks up statistically. There we go. Okay, so first of all, let's put some passive scores on the board. These are going to be what these units can do to boost the stats that you see through their passives. One thing you're going to notice right away, which is both a strength and a weakness of Niv'Lu in my opinion, is she cannot boost very many of these like important stats with her passives. She can boost missile attack, which is really, really good, by up to 30. She can also boost her range, which is also situationally really, really good, by up to 3. Whereas if you look at the other characters on here, they have boosts kind of all over the place. Frederica can boost accuracy, agility, missile attack, range. Lucia can boost HP, accuracy, agility, missile attack, range. Luartha can even boost her attack by 60%, which is nuts. Her agility, her missile attack, and her range. So the other 3 units you see here have a lot more kind of options with their sub-jobs maybe than Niv'Lu has, but that's not necessarily a weakness of her. Before we go too deep into that, let's put what their actual scores can be on the board and look at what they are modified by those passives. So what you're seeing now is what the potential score of each one of these units is. So we'll start at the top. HP. Niv'Lu is middling in HP. 1907 is low, just overall for a unit, but kind of middle of the road for a gunner slash sniper, whatever. Lucia has the highest at 2173, but all of these units are in that danger zone of like, please don't hit us, we need to stay far away and shoot things. So her HP is nothing spectacular, but we didn't expect it to be, honestly. Alright, accuracy. Niv'Lu cannot modify her accuracy with a passive, and she does not have a 100% hit attack. So this might be something that needs to be addressed through gear, or through Espers, or vision cards, or something like that. Frederica and Lucia, you see, they're kind of the winners here. They can add 25 accuracy to themselves, but sometimes they don't even need that because they have access to sharpshoot, which is that 100% hit ability. Alright, attack. Niv'Lu's base attack is 294. Again, that's not super high or super low. Luartha is going to be the runaway winner here because she has self-sacrifice, and with that 60% boost to her, she can put her attack up to 588. So Luartha already looks like she's going to be one of the hardest hitting of these 4 units, and I think a lot of people in Global are going to end up not regretting that they missed her, but maybe wishing they had picked her up while they were chasing Dwayne. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens to the missile meta as it develops, because a lot of people in Global passed on Luartha for Dwayne. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Niv'Lu and comparing her. So anyway, Luartha, far and away the winner here, but Niv'Lu is on the lower end. 294, it's better than Frederica, but not Lucia level and definitely not Luartha level. Alright, moving on to agility. Now, when you look at these stats, you're going to say, oh look, Frederica is the winner. And yeah, Frederica can get to 75 agility. but Frederica has to use a passive to get there. This, I think, is going to be a strength of Niv'Lu, is she has 71 agility without modifying it through her passives. That's really good. 71 base agility is fast. So even though Frederica is the winner here because she can buff her agility, Niv'Lu has more than anybody else without modifying it. And in fact, she has more than Lucia and Luartha, even when they add that plus 12%. So agility, there's maybe our first really big strength of Niv'Lu statistic-wise. All right, missile attack up. Niv'Lu can give herself plus 30 missile attack. Her mastery ability also gives her 5, so that puts her at plus 35. That's really good. Now, it's not quite to Frederica, where Frederica can add 27. She gets some from her mastery ability as well and can get to plus 42. They're the two highest in this category, and that plus missile attack really helps them make up for their lower attack scores. So here we see Niv'Lu and Frederica, in a lot of ways, catching up in damage a little bit to Lucia, to Luartha. I don't think it gets them there. Like, I don't think anybody who plays with Frederica and Lucia would argue that Frederica just hits harder than Lucia. That's just kind of not Frederica's role. But her damage doesn't suck. And I don't think Niv'Lu's damage is going to suck at all. So missile attack is a strength for her. Again, though, look at Luartha. Luartha's at 30 with all that attack. Ooh, there's a part of me that's thinking, ooh, I have 2 days. Can I go get Luartha before I get Niv'Lu? I'm going to say no to that part of me because we need Visior to get Niv'Lu. All right, anyway, range is the last one on here. Just like Frederica, Niv'Lu can boost her range by 3, which is really good and gives her a lot of flexibility on what map you're playing on or what your strategy is. I foresee a lot of like really awful to play against class match teams where it's Frederica and Niv'Lu and they're buffing each other's range and shooting you from across the map and you're just like walking forward at them and they're kiting. Ugh, playing against that sounds so terrible. It's already bad enough when people do that with Frederica, but she's gonna get a friend. Oh man. Anyway, that's a big strength for Niv'Lu, so a win for her there. All right, let's move on to talking about Niv'Lu's skills, stats, and things like that specifically. So right off the top, let's start with her TMR. Her TMR is the V-Clan Mask. It's an accessory that's going to give 312 HP and 15 evade. And you're like, ooh, 15 evade on an accessory. That sounds good. Oh, just wait. It gets even better. The TMR skill at level 20 is called Inherited Bewitching Art, which increases evasion rate for 30 for 3 turns for you and your allies in a nice little AoE around you. Uh-oh. Not only is Niv'Lu maybe bringing a ranged attack meta with her, but her TMR might bring an evasion meta in a whole new kind of way. This is a very, very strong TMR. And even if you aren't planning on playing ranged teams, if you play evasion, I think you're going to want access to this. This could take the place of an illusion buff, or it could take the place of your units needing to self-buff their evasion. This seems great. And the 312 HP is also not bad for an accessory. That's pretty good. So okay, props to her there. That is a plus to her. All right, let's jump into her skills and see what we're dealing with there. All right, here's her support abilities. We looked at what they can kind of do. Let's take a quick look at what they are. So long range, very self-explanatory, +1 range, doesn't do anything else. All right, concentrate, +2 range with a decrease in evasion. So I think that's better than long range. 2 seems better than 1, and -5 evasion. I mean, I guess you might not run that if you're running her as evasion, but -5 doesn't seem like crippling. Okay, Sniper Mastery. Increases missile attack by 15, increases luck by 12. Okay. A luck buff. Good. That's good for accuracy and evasion. And then missile attack 15 is a great buff. It's just as good as Missile Mastery, which you see lower on the list. It gives 15. but it also gives luck. So Sniper Mastery is literally just a better version of Missile Mastery. Great skill. Null CT changes, actually really good. If you want to run her as a sub time mage, we'll get there. But if you want her as sub time mage and don't want her standing there casting haste on herself, null CT changes is what you want. And then we talked about Missile Mastery, so speed cast, activation time decrease. This is probably the one you're not using on this list. Maybe ever. But it's still situationally decent. So anyway, very strong support skills, all probably usable in the right situation. All right, counter skills. What do we got? We have Counter Smoke, which is a counter on physical damage and a chance to decrease accuracy for the person you're countering. Really nice. 43% decrease in accuracy. However, if you're countering and you got hit, you're probably dead anyway, so counter moves on gunners is kind of awkward anyway. Alright, counter shot, chance to counter damage, 121%, pretty basic. And then slow counter, this is that time mage counter that like aipOQ uses all the time, where when you get hit, you actually have a 50% chance, which is super high, to inflict a slow on the enemy. So that's really good. Alright, her main job. So what is she bringing with her abilities that we can look forward to without worrying about subs? Alright, slow shot. 121% damage and a 20% agility decrease to the target. Oh, that's good. Like, that seems really good. And it only cost 16 AP. Alright, I can get behind that. What's the range like on this? Decent range with a height of 5. So, height irrelevant to this skill. Really, really good. Alright, target, here's a self buff, increases range by 1. So here's another way for her to bump her range even beyond her passives, and increase defense penetration by 40. Thumbs up. Big thumbs up there. Because if we think back to her mastery ability, which I already mentioned gives missile attack plus 5, her mastery ability also gives defense penetration plus 20. So her mastery ability in combination with this buff, now we're really elevating her damage. Like, it looked on paper like maybe Luartha was going to really out DPS Niv'Lu, but we're looking at a lot of defense penetration for our girl here, which fits the theme of sniper really cool. Like, she can aim for the weak points, you know, like shoot them in the neck when they're wearing armor or whatever. She's like Legolas up here, penetrating all that armor with her accuracy. Really cool theme. This character's looking better and better. Alright, Dispel Spread, 200% damage attack, which is pretty high, hits in an AoE, and dispels all debuffs for target. I'm imagining that's a translation error, and it's just going to debuff the targets. So that's a strong ability. Slow Arrow, 170% damage, nice, and decreases the move on the target by 1 for 3 turns. Another debuffing shot, with 23 AP cost, which isn't bad, a range height of 5, and decent range. Okay. This chick is starting to look like a tank nerfer. Like, the enemy Agrius or tank or whatever is going to get forward, and she's going to be like, slow down, don't move, I'm hitting through your armor. She seems kind of like a tank buster that maybe the range meta has kind of needed. Anyway, let's see though. Barrier Break Arrow, more of that. A 24 AP cost skill, 170% damage, and breaks the physical barrier on the target. So what that means is like, that's like Agrius' self buff where she has that 3-hit barrier, or like Orlando's TMR, or Warrior of Light's buff that he can cast. This is gonna bust that. So instead of taking 3 hits to break it, she'll shoot them, it'll go away with that first hit, and it makes that tank more vulnerable. So her main job to me screams, I'm here to nerf the enemy tank through my abilities, which is really cool. Like, I don't know that we have this unit yet. Really awesome theme. Alright, let's get to the sub jobs. Her sniper sub job, she gets arm shot, that's like Frederica has, where very low damage, but it has a chance of inflicting disable for 3 turns. It's a good move. Frederica really likes this move. Okay, this one has a buff, cross-based AoE buff, increase attack by 30% for 3 turns for allies, and increase Nether Beast Killer. Maybe that's like good for a raid or something at some point, some PvE buff. But a 30% attack buff for a ranged unit is good, because if she's with other ranged units, they already have those missile attack and ranged buffs. Here's her with an attack buff to apply with that. So that's good synergy between her and the other ranged units that are out. Really like that skill. And then Paralyzing Trap, 5 casts, 21 TP, AoE, 25% chance to paralyze for 3 turns for the targets. Seems good, like if you could do it, but the AI doesn't like to use things like this. Probably just situational. I bet that doesn't have a lot of impact on the game. Alright, Gunner sub. Here's where you get aimed fire. That's that missile attack up 38 and range attack up 1 for your allies. It's a great buff. This is a great buff. But it's not something unique to her. Your other gunners are going to bring this to the fight as well. Blackout, we've seen that before. Single target damage with a blind. Leg shot, single target damage with a mobilize. Council, a critical hit rate buff. Good. A critical hit rate buff is nice. And it costs 23 TP, so that's not great, but it's a good buff. Sidewinder, this is a beast killer move, so again, another PvE attack, but it does have piercing and hits in that straight line, so maybe she'd use it every once in a while. And then double shot, this is a chaining move, so here's another big boost to her PvE ability, is she has access to a multi-hit attack. That's like one of the first things you look for if you're thinking, is this unit good for PvE? Yep, she is. Awesome. And she's a lightning gunner, and there's already another lightning gunner, so, ooh, that's nice. Alright, Time Mage. It gets interesting here. If you've watched my videos with Skull in them, or played with Quicken at all, or another Time Mage / damage dealer like Miranda, Time Mage is a really strong sub job. And it might be that you could do some crazy things here. I'm going to leave a lot of talking about Time Mage for some like arena videos that I'll make with Niv'Lu, but just know that like haste is a really good buff, and Quicken opens up a lot of possibilities for your team. Just off the top, I'm thinking of this like lightning team with Skull, Niv'Lu, and Frederica, where Frederica like pops bells on turn 1 and then just starts barraging over and over again because everyone's just like, Quicken, Quicken. Because you put null CT on Niv'Lu, you put null CT on Skull, they're both going to target only Frederica with their Time Mage buffs, and they love to cast Quicken. So they're going to go Quicken, 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 and Frederica's going to be like, buff, buff, barrage, 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 barrage. You know, she's going to spam her ability. She's going to run out of AP, even with bells on. So, is that kind of silly maybe, and maybe not viable? Yeah, I don't know, but I'm going to try it for sure. So Time Mage is a cool sub with the Time Mage buffs. Y'all know about those. Alright, last, let's look at her limit burst here. Spider Rain, a big AoE, but with a big price tag attached to it. So it's 58 AP to cast this. However, it's really good. 165% damage is nice, and a 35 defense decrease to everyone it hits for 3 turns. Another tank busting ability, another bruiser busting ability. Like, it's a good thing there's not like a water tank running around, because that water tank would get destroyed by this chick. Alright, that's it for skills. I think we've gone over that pretty well. Real briefly, like if we want to talk about people that Niv'Lu's going to play well with, it's pretty obvious, I think. You're going to want to pair her with other ranged units to take advantage of those buffs. We don't need to go into that very well, but if you have other missile units that you're wanting to utilize, I think Niv'Lu's only going to amplify those teams. So, again, that seems like a PvP showcase video for later. Let's move on. Alright, I do want to talk about vision cards and Espers and some gear that you might want to think about building up right now if you're thinking about pulling Niv'Lu in a few days. So the most obvious one is Frederica's Dream. Niv'Lu, being a lightning ranged unit, gets all of the bonus from Frederica's Dream. The unit effect is 10% lightning attack up. The party effect is 35 missile attack up. This is just money for Niv'Lu. if you have this card and you've worked on maxing this card and you're going for Niv'Lu, you're going to feel like you're cashing in, because this is going to be another way of amplifying her damage to try to catch up to those Luartha levels, to those Lucia levels, because she gets the full benefit of this. That's an awesome card. I don't even know if there's other Vision cards worth specifically mentioning here. Yeah, like, you're going to want to use 2 others in your 3-man group, but Frederica's Dream is the highlight here. That's the thing I wanted to say, that Niv'Lu is a great candidate for that card. Alright, Espers. There's a little bit more to talk about here, a little bit of diversity. So you're going to want, obviously, missile attack up, or something that also boosts her damage. So Tetrasylphid is where I pretty much start with all my missile units, because she has access to that 15% missile attack up. She also has access to an AP increase, which is kind of nice, and accuracy. The rest of Tetrasylphid, you want to mix in some like Earth Killer, maybe some critical, things like that. She also has evasion, so if you are running an evasion build of this girl, hey, Tetrasylphid your Esper. Cool. Tetrasylphid also has 16 agility, which is one thing I always look at on Espers, is like, how do they make my character faster or slower? So Tetrasylphid, that's going to be a good place to start. The next one, Chocobo, one of our newer Espers in the game, is really good for your ranged units. Chocobo has access to missile attack up 10, so not Tetrasylphid levels, but pretty good. He also has access to attack up 15%. He has access to Earth Killer. So, I mean, like, RIP Mont tanks, if you're still fighting Mont tanks. Alright. But other Earth units, like Killfay, for example, will hate it if you're running Chocobo. And Killfay loves to stack defense, loves to cast a shield on herself. Chocobo is going to be like your Killfay slaughtering card here. And then the Chocobo's stats aren't bad either. Like, he adds 15 agility, which is nice, 70 attack. Chocobo's a great option for Niv'Lu. Alright, if you don't have those, and you're like, oh, I still want to use like a UR because I've invested a lot in Odin. Odin's never bad for a damage user because it's Odin. Put some Human Killer on your unit. Put some attack increase. Buff your missile resist. If you want to fight other missile teams, he has accuracy. Odin's like the generic, I'm awesome at PvP Esper. It applies here too. Alright, Float. If you have to dip into the SR range for your Espers here, because you're not used to running more than one missile unit and you haven't invested in some other ones or whatever, Float is a decent option. He has missile attack 7. He has a TP increase, so maybe if you want to like use a lot of your time mage abilities, there's Float for you. Yeah, it's an interesting choice, and it has some pierce resistance on it, so not the worst you could do if it's one of your only options. And that's about it for Espers. Those are the ones that stood out to me as a good choice. Let's move on. Let's talk about some equipment here, and you're going to want a bow for Luartha. Not Luartha. Yeah, you want to... No, for Niv'Lu. You want a bow for Niv'Lu. Excuse me. We just had the Elven Bow event, but that's actually not good for her, because the Elven Bow is a magic attack bow, so put that back on the shelf, and you want to look for something like the Ruin Bow here. This is going to be your best one right now. I don't know if we have a bow event coming where we get some new bow, or maybe they run Rune Bow on Wednesday and everybody can go farm this, but it has really good modes to it, like Assault gives you 124 attack, Aim gives you 28 accuracy, which is really nice. And then Critical gives 14 accuracy and 15 crit, which shouldn't be overlooked. I think Aim, in my opinion, probably the best one here, because Niv'Lu does not have that 100% hit attack. I will build an Aim version of this for her, I think. I don't have to do it yet, so I'm not totally committed, but I get the 15 missile attack up. Awesome. Just stack that number as high as I can. And then that 28 accuracy, that's nice. Ooh, I don't want some random dodges ruining my team comp. And what am I sacrificing? 40 attack to get 15 more accurate, to get 21 more accuracy? Seems worth to me. Okay, If you don't have rune bow recipes or you don't have access to the materials, there's an alternative you could go farm really easily. That's the great bow. I'd recommend the assault version here, 139 attack. At +5, it's going to give you missile attack up 13. I think this is a fine alternative if you can't get the rune bow, and it builds out of farmable stuff from just the story. So, great bow if you can't have a rune bow, and there you go. Alright, I think that's about it. To answer the question of, am I going to pull for her? Should you pull for her? Yes, I'm going to pull for her. I'm very excited for this unit. I'm excited to see a more diverse meta hopefully work its way back in. I want to get off of this map that we're on, and I'm hoping for that to come Wednesday. But even if the map doesn't change, I think we will see missile units maybe by the end of the week working their way back in as the people who go really hard for Niv'Lu start getting her to 89, 99, get that resonance built up. Should you pull for her? Probably. If you want to play ranged units, I think she's going to be a super good addition to your team. So if you got Luartha especially, and you're sitting on some Vizior, and this is kind of scratching an itch for you, I think you won't regret getting Niv'Lu. She's top of the DP or of the charts in JP, and JP is different than global in some significant ways. But Niv'Lu seems like a great unit to me, and if you can, if you have the Vizior and you want to play range units, I say go for it. I think it's a good investment as a unit, and you won't be sorry. Is it a must get for your account? No. No, I don't think so at all. The ranged meta is not going to take over the game. It's not even going to be as prevalent as the dark meta kind of is right now. A lot of people in global went for Dwayne really hard. They're tapped out on Viz, but you are going to see some people get Niv'Lu, get Luartha, and missiles coming back in some form or another. So there you go. Pull if you want to. That's going to be my last advice on every one of these type of videos. Hey, if you want it and you can afford it, get it. Good for you. Alright, that's all I got for today, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, give me a subscribe. Check out my other series going on right now. And yeah, I'll see y'all in the next video.